Welcome back to another upcoming Banners Rolling Guide video. This time, we have exciting new upcoming operators and a chance to get previous strong ones that you might have missed. We are starting with the When Elegies Are Ashes event banner. The 6-star is Mon3tr. She is a Shaper caster, which means she can create summons when enemies are defeated within her range. She can attack enemies blocked by these summons, even if they are outside her range, and her summons don't take up deployment slots. Her first talent allows her to summon a Servant of Lament when an enemy is defeated within her range, up to 3. If additional ones cannot be summoned, upgrade a Servant of Lament instead. The upgrade increases block and greatly increases HP, attack, and defense. And when a Servant of Lament is upgraded, its HP is fully restored. Her second talent increases the attack to 140 when Mon3tr and her summons attack an enemy below 50% HP. This talent makes it easier for her to defeat enemies and summon servants, and it works great with operators like Ambusher Specialists who can chip away at enemies before reaching her for an easy kill. Her first skill has a passive effect that deals a burst of damage to all nearby enemies when a servant is summoned or upgraded. When activated, immediately refreshes all Servants of Lament. If none are on the field, summons one Servant of Lament instead. The refresh from the activation not only restores the summon's HP, but also triggers the passive's burst damage, making this skill a good option when facing a lot of enemies. Her second skill puts up to 2 enemies within attack range into sleep, dealing 160% of attack as arts damage to the targets every 0.5 seconds. If the target is defeated during the skill, summons 2 additional Servants of Lament. The additional summons make upgrading her servants so much easier, and with the arts damage over time alongside the crowd control, makes it a great choice for lane holding, even against elite enemies. Her third skill has a passive that changes one Servant of Lament into a special form, which can only be upgraded through skills and can be upgraded up to 6 times. When activated, it immediately deals 800% of attack as arts damage to all enemies within range, then consumes a Servant of Lament to upgrade the special servant, and restores 20% of its max HP. This effect is doubled if the servant is upgraded, and repeats 3 times. This skill focuses on having one strong servant. The initial burst of damage from Mon3tr helps with upgrading and healing it. The upgrades significantly increase all its stats, block count, and attack range. And it is not just a big body on the field. It gains access to a skill that deals 120% of attack as arts damage to all enemies within attack range every second. This is her best skill by far. You need to deploy her a bit early to get the upgrades going, but other than that, it performs well on higher difficulty stages against multiple enemies and strong elites. Her module improves her trait to increase her attack to 115% when attacking enemies blocked by summons. The module also improves her first talent to increase her attack by plus 25% for 10 seconds, when an enemy within her attack range is defeated. The 5 stars are Sand Reckoner and Orienteering. Sand Reckoner is a summoner supporter. This archetype deploys summons, but they take a deployment slot that could have been used to deploy strong operators. His talent allows him to summon 5 Clockwork Foul Beasts that deal 20% more damage to machine enemies, which there aren't many of. His second skill recovers 1 Clockwork Foul Beast on activation. Clockwork Foul Beasts gain plus 40% attack, and will prioritize attacking the heaviest enemies. Clockwork Foul Beast attacks will slow targets for 1 second. The Clockwork Foul Beasts are ranged units, which help them apply slow more reliably. They will prioritize bosses and elite enemies, but there are always better ways to slow or hinder enemies without using 3 or more deployment slots, and a large amount of DP. Orienteering is a Trap Master Specialist, which means she can use traps in battle. Her talent allows her to deploy 3 of her traps, Rocky Chompers, while being able to store up to 4. Rocky Chompers can be manually detonated after being prepared a short time after deployment, so it gives you more control, allowing you to detonate her traps on a specific enemy, or detonate the traps on enemies that are close to each other. The traps take a few seconds to be activatable, so you will need to be more strategic with when and where to place them, which isn't a big downside given how much control they give you. Her first skill has a passive effect. Each Rocky Chomper can be manually detonated when ready, dealing 250% of attack as physical damage to all enemies within range, and stuns them for 3 seconds. When activated, immediately gain 1 Rocky Chomper. Just a note here, this skill works the same as other Trap Master's skills. You don't need to activate the trap to gain another. You will gain a trap as the skill auto-activates when reaching 20 SP at M3 and 22 SP at level 7. The duration of this stun is really good, but the damage is below average compared to other Trap Masters. But it makes sense since the damage is area of effect. Another problem with both her skills is the big SP cost of 20 compared to the 12 SP cost that all the other Trap Master's skills have, except Ela, of course. But again, her traps have AoE damage and can be manually activated, so it kind of balances things out in a way. Her second skill has a passive effect. It expands the attack range of Rocky Chompers. When detonated, all ready Rocky Chompers will be detonated at the same time, dealing 250% of attack as physical damage twice to all enemies within range, and reducing their defense by -25%, which does not stack for 5 seconds. When activated, immediately gain 1 Rocky Chomper. This skill deals a huge burst of damage since it deals damage twice and detonates 2 traps on the same enemy thanks to the expanded range from only 1 tile into the 4 adjacent tiles. And 1 enemy isn't the limit. It can damage all the enemies within range, which makes this skill a good counter to elite enemies who like to be idle for a while, allowing you to preemptively put traps in their path without worrying about trash mobs triggering them, since they are manually activated. I'm not sure if the defense reduction is accounted for in the trap's damage formula, since they seem to be activating simultaneously, but even if it doesn't, it would still be a good support, mainly for Arknights' basic attacks to finish off enemies that are severely damaged by the traps. Her module gives her a new trait that gives her a 20% chance to deploy a trap that deals double damage. This trait is less effective on Arknight since you want to use her traps more strategically, unlike other trap masters who like to spam their traps in the enemy's path. The module also improves her talent to increase the damage dealt by 12% when a Rocky Chomper detonates, and 2 or more enemies are within range, which works well with her AoE capability. Even though Mon3tr is a decent operator, I wouldn't recommend pulling this banner, mainly because the upcoming banners are stacked with stronger operators. Next is the Icebreaker Games Orienteering 2 banner. 3 of the following 6-star operators, determined by the player, will always be the 6-star operators that appear in a pull, but keep in mind that some of these operators may change for the EN release. The 6 stars are Flametail, Hoderer, Logos, Stainless, Ulpianus, Vina Victoria. The obvious picks here are Logos and Ulpianus. Logos is the best caster in the game. He can deal necrosis damage, with a massive range AoE 3rd skill, a single target 2nd skill, and an AFK 1st skill. Ulpianus is a great guard with high damage and good survivability, and he is even more broken when paired with other Abyssal Hunters. He can lane hold, boss kill, and everything you can expect from a top-tier guard operator. Now, for the rest of the operators. Hoderer is a good crusher guard, but if you already have Ulpianus, or you are going to pick him for this banner, there is no point in choosing Hoderer unless you want both for some reason. Vina Victoria is somewhat an underwhelming arts fighter guard. She fails in comparison with other boss killers, and even with her arts fighter counterparts, Searcher and Viviana. Stainless is a good supporter in theory, but I wouldn't really recommend him since he costs a lot of DP to deploy alongside his support devices, and there are other cheaper alternatives to what he can do. For example, if you want an attack buffer, you can use Warfarin or Telopsis for better SP charging. Flametail is great if you are just starting out. She is a good lane holder, and can even hold some elite enemies with her 3rd skill, but she struggles to compete with Agent Vanguards in terms of DP generation and utility. 3 of the following 5-star operators, determined by the player, have a 60% chance to be the 5-star operator that appears in a pull. As for the 5 stars, they are Ashlock, Cantabile, Carrara, La Pluma, Lucilla, Quercus. The top picks here are Cantabile, a great fast redeploy DP generator, and La Pluma, an excellent enmity lane holder. In the middle of the line, we have Ashlock, a defender with a long-range AoE physical attack, good for clearing enemy waves or accessing tiles your ranged operators can't reach. And Quercus is a supporter who can reduce physical and arts damage for allies within range with more than 60% HP. She is also a good healer who can restore SP for her allies. As for the operators whom I don't recommend are Lucilla, a debuffer who only debuffs enemies that are not elites or bosses, and Carrara, an ambusher who focuses on healing herself in exchange for having low damage and no forms of crowd control except the 20% slow from her module. Overall, this banner is in a really tough spot, with the upcoming banner having strong operators. Even if you don't have both Logos and Ulpianus, it's hard to recommend this banner, especially when we don't know who will be replaced for the EN release. I would say it's better to skip this banner to pull for the next one. Next is the Episode 15 banner. The 6-star is Mon3tr. Mon3tr is a chain medic, which means she heals her allies. Her healing bounces between 3 allies, with her healing reducing by each bounce. Her first talent allows her to summon a Reconstruct within attack range that can only be healed by her. Friendly units around the Reconstruct gain plus 15% attack. When the Reconstruct is healed by itself or Mon3tr, the heal can perform an additional bounce without reduction. The Reconstruct not only increases attack for allies and grants an additional bounce, but it also plays a crucial role in charging her skills. The Reconstruct's constant HP loss makes her a healing target, which helps reliably charge Mon3tr's offensive recovery skills. With her second talent, when Mon3tr or the Reconstruct performs healing, this unit and the target gain plus 20 attack speed for 10 seconds, does not stack. This helps with her archetype's high attack speed intervals that hinder her healing and SP generation. It's also a great support for her allies, especially when amplified with her second skill. Speaking about her second skill, it prioritizes healing the Reconstruct for the duration of this skill. Every time the Reconstruct receives healing from Mon3tr, it will launch a bouncing heal, and it increases the effect of the second talent to 2.8 times. Attack speed buff is unique and valuable. It can work well with most operators, and it makes some of them broken, especially with a big buff of 56 attack speed from this skill. So operators with offensive skill recovery, and operators with a very high attack stat, while also increasing Mon3tr's own healing. Her third skill changes her attack range. Mon3tr moves to the position of the Reconstruct. Attack plus 330%, attack interval reduced, block count plus 2, max HP plus 5000, loses 80 HP per second, attacks all blocked enemies, damage type changes to true, and attacks heal self for 50% attack. Returns to the initial position when the skill ends, or upon taking lethal damage. This skill transforms her from a medic to a damage dealer. It's very similar to Kal'Tzit's third skill, but better in most aspects. It has an AoE true damage in an extended range, with a big attack increase. She doesn't have a good defense, but she makes up for it with a huge max HP with good healing as long as she keeps attacking, which makes her struggle against ranged enemies in some situations. The 5-star is Alana, and the 4-star is Windscoot. Alana is an artificer supporter. Her talent carries 3 support devices that make an operator ignore 80 defense when attacking, lasts for 30 seconds, does not stack. Her module upgrades this talent to ignore 100 defense at level 3, and gives her a new trait that increases the max number of support devices that can be held by +1 and reduces their deployment cost by -2. Defense ignore is useful for operators with somewhat low attack but high attack speed, like marksman snipers, but her archetype is impractical because they cost a lot of DP to deploy them and their devices, and the modules don't really help a lot with that. Her first skill is a passive skill. The operator equipped with Nutlet has attack speed plus 23, and the device lasts for 30 seconds longer. This skill doesn't regenerate devices, so the extra 30 seconds is really useful to get the most out of her devices. The amount of attack speed she gives is good, and it pairs well with her defense ignore. Her second skill increases her attack and attack speed by plus 50, and the talent effect increases to 2.7 times. When the skill ends, obtain 1 Nutlet. The buff to her attack and attack speed helps her lane hold and be useful while her devices are equipped to other operators. 2.7 times means the equipped operator will ignore 270 defense with the module equipped, which is great. But if you need this much defense ignore, it's better to use attack buffers or change to arts damage. Windscoot is a Liberator Guard, which means he normally does not attack and has 0 block. When his skill is inactive, attack gradually increases up to plus 200% over 40 seconds. The attack is reset when the skill ends. His module improves this to start at plus 100% attack when deployed, giving him a much-needed quality of life that will allow him to use his fully powered second skill only 20 seconds after deployment. His talent deals an additional hit that is equal to 40% of attack, 52% with the module, when the attack increase from the talent reaches the maximum threshold. a good offensive talent that helps him clear low defense enemy waves faster, making him a bit more competitive with Tequila in this scenario. His second skill expands his attack range and attacks 2 enemies simultaneously. Every attack deals 200% of attack as physical damage that cannot be dodged. This skill has a good attack range, and thanks to his trait and talent, it makes him one of the best choices for damage when it comes to 4-star operators. The dodge ignore won't come to play most of the time, but it's nice to have it for some specific events. 4-star operators are cheap to build, and they cost low to no hope in integrated strategies, so he is a good operator to get. Overall, Mon3tr is a top-tier operator who can function as a medic, a support, and a damage dealer. If you have enough pulls saved for the next limited event, Mon3tr is worth pulling for. If not, then it's better to save for the next limited banner, since it will have stronger operators. And Windscoot is a 4-star, even if you don't pull this banner, you will get him eventually. The next banner is the Babel Rerun. The 6-star is Ascalon. She is the best slower in the game with really strong arts damage over time. Unfortunately, her banners are always in an awkward spot. And if you are looking for a crowd control operator, a way better one is coming around 2 banners after this. The 5 stars are Aroma and Leto. They are both terrible, so no need to go over them. That's it for this video. The next banner is a limited one, so keep that in mind. Thank you for watching.